I'm just going to record. I'm nervous and I forgot what to say. All right. We'll edit this out at the other end. But all right, guys. Welcome back to another MVP Friday. Pumped for this one today because it is my good friend Sharna-lee, who's been an absolute pleasure to work with. Someone that I'm very, very excited to see her journey, because each week there just seems to be another layer, another little bit of action that is starting to just generate some really, really awesome results. So guys, if you are watching this on the YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we will be dropping these every single week so that you guys can get insights into, not just tricks and strategies and stuff that works, but also how other coaches are doing it as well. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and comment below if you want more of this. So today we have Sharna-lee. How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
Cool. Welcome to the podcast.
First one.
Yeah, where are you coming from today? Live in your living room or?
This is my living room, yes.
How good. Cool, mate. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, your journey so far as a coach, and then we'll get into the interview.
Yeah, so I'm an online nutrition and training coach. My business is called the Nutrition Collective. I've had it up and running since September last year. I originally wanted to become a coach because when I was younger, I had an eating disorder. So I really wanted to help people fix their relationship with food and show them that they don't need to restrict or cut out food groups or deprive themselves in order to reach their fat loss goals. I'm also a bodybuilder. So the method that I have to use to get stage lean is not necessarily like something I would implement with clients, obviously. But the way that I coach my clients is exactly how I live and breathe outside the competing world. So, flexible dieting, not cutting anything out, but I am a competitive person. So the solo sports have always been interesting to me. Before bodybuilding, it was gymnastics or martial arts. Not saying I'm not a team player, but I do like those sort of sports where it's like you versus you. And yeah, the bodybuilding. So I'm doing my 6th show in September. And it just really helps as well with my business because clients are following on that journey and seeing that transformation.
Absolutely. No, it's probably one of your strong suits, is that just sharing that journey and sharing who you are. And it almost speaks for itself. Like the old saying in personal training used to be your body is your business card. And so you not only sharing, the results you got for yourself, but being very, very good at sharing the journey, the ins and outs, the ups and downs is pretty awesome as well. Yeah. Cool. So did you say you started coaching full-time in October last year, was it?
Yeah, so it was in September. Prior to that, I worked in a gym. So just as I had 2 gym jobs, just as a personal trainer. I did nutrition consults for another company as well. And I sort of always wanted to be a coach. And, through lockdown, it was a shitty time, obviously, sort of break into the industry. I was at uni. So I did 2 degrees. One was exercise science. And then I went off and did nutrition. I finished that last June. And I wanted to be a coach, but I was kind of the market's saturated. There's so many coaches out there. I had limiting beliefs. I was kind of can I even do it? But through 2020 to 2022, I did have a lot of people ask me for tips and recommendations and to calculate their macros and stuff like that on Facebook and Instagram. And I was kind of well, people are already coming to me for this. And some of them were even saying, I dropped the sort of hint that I wanted to start coaching. And they were like, when you do, let me know. So some of those people back then I still have they're still my clients to this day. And that was in September. So, once it got to September, I had done my first show of last year. I did 3. I was posting a lot of stuff about competing. So my engagement was really high and my Instagram was popping. So I thought now is the time to do it. So I started coaching. To be honest, until I joined Mamba, I didn't really have much structure. I was still relying on the gym income. I was almost I was treating this as a bit of a hobby on the side. And then when it got to I joined the Inner Circle in February, and then I joined with you in Mamba in April. And I was saying to you, like, you obviously know this story, but I wanted to leave the gym and go online, but I was scared, like my mortgage was going up and just, can I make it? But yeah, it's honestly the best thing I've done, because now I PT for 3 hours a week. And other than that, everything's online.
But that, I guess, give you a little bit of confidence, mate, knowing that, hey, look, you've almost built like a recession-proof business now. You're in control of your mortgage, like all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, how good. It's pretty cool. So, like, obviously taking that step where you were like, hey, shit, I'm going to go full-time online. As you said, with all of that fear, what was the thing that, like, you're like, I have to do this, I have to take this step?
To be honest with you, I was feeling pretty burnt out. So the gym that I was working at is 40 minutes from my house, starting at 6 a.m. and would PT back to back till 12. So like it was a 4:30 wake up. I was still doing prep. So having to train, meal prep, all the other shit. And then when I'd come home, it was almost like I was had no mental or like creative energy to sort of like put into my business kind of thing. And I was sort of putting the attention in the wrong spaces. I am also a bit of an introverted extrovert. So with PT, as you guys know, you need to be on all the time. And, you know, having conversations with people back to back, I did feel quite drained. So then when I would get home, I was kind of like, oh, I don't even know what to do. But when I said to you, I want to take that leap, I watched that video that you sent me on how to transition from face-to-face PT to online without losing any money. I was like, I just need to cut the cord and go all in, because I think fear, putting yourself in situations where there's no other option other than to make it, is the one thing that will kick you up the ass. Because like if I didn't do it, I always had that safety net. So yeah, I just kind of went all in and just had more time to focus on the business and just implement the stuff that you were saying in terms of like speaking to your niche and just refining content.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's quite nice you saying that right there. It sort of kicks my own ass into practicing what I preach and sort of backing myself with a couple of different things at the moment. But nah, it's one of those things, mate, and probably one of the things that I have found with you is that, you know, we're sort of like, hey, watch this, have a crack at this. You go and do it straight away, and you just have this, like, I guess, grit, determination, but also just I was going to say balls, but it's not balls. It's just like you have the courage to go and like step into this. You're like, okay, cool. I'm going to back myself 100%. And then all of a sudden, you know, you take that leap of faith and, you know, you've got your own back, which is pretty exciting. And it's awesome. So when you did make that transition where you're like, okay, cool. Now I've got all this extra time. What was sort of the values, and I guess, what did you want to see your business turn into from that point?
So I'm really focusing on the vegan niche because I'm vegan. I do coach a lot of normal people as well. But I do also have a lot of vegan clients, and I guess I am attracting a lot of them too. So even people that want to, you know, eat less meat, eat less dairy, have reached out to me on Instagram to join coaching. So the way that I want my business to turn into, I still want to coach, I'm going to say like normal people, okay, meat eaters, but I really want to just move completely into mainly plant-based. There's not that many vegan coaches out there, to be honest. So I think it is a really good niche to dial into, and it kind of gives me like a point of difference from other coaches. There is this big belief that you can't get lean. I mean, it's harder to be leaner and build muscle on a plant-based diet, but it's not impossible. And I also have a lot of friends who are coaches as well that they're not knowledgeable in the plant-based sort of field, even with their plant-based clients, because they just don't know about like supplements or 100%. Protein combining or, you know, any of that sort of stuff. So I think it does kind of give me a bit of a leg up in that space. And that's where I want it to really just head to.
Yeah, mate, like one of the first things when I like sort of started working with you, I went onto your like Instagram, was like, who is this? It was like, who's this Jack chick? And it was like,
I remember that, the Loom video.
Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. And like, because it is a lot more difficult. Well, it's not necessarily a lot more difficult. There's not as much education. There's not as much sort of, I guess, coaching out there on how to sort of grow that sort of body from a vegan perspective. And so maybe just like switching gears just a touch, what would be some of the stuff that you've found to be really useful in terms of, I guess, experimenting on your own journey and then being able to apply that now to your niche, as a coach?
Yeah. So definitely, so protein is a massive one. Like that's the main thing that I definitely focus on. It is
the thing with like vegan proteins, you got to have such a broad range, don't you? Because you don't get all the essentials from one source.
That's it. So like the three things that you kind of want to focus on when it comes to protein for vegans is the number one is just protein quantity, just getting enough throughout the day. The next one up is protein distribution. And then the third one from that is protein quality. So with just getting enough protein, so whether it's from, sources that don't contain all 9 essential amino acids, that's okay, because the protein combining doesn't have to happen in that one sitting. It can be, pulled from a pool across the day. A lot of people where they sort of fail as well is they have like low protein meals. Their largest meal with protein will be at dinner. So that protein distribution isn't there. So like muscle protein synthesis, it's not really being prioritized. And then with the quality is a big one as well for people that I find, because there's a lot of shitty vegan meats on the market. Like I'm going to, sorry to like name drop, but Beyond Burgers and like Impossible Burgers, the ingredients list is like a thesis long. It's literally vegan junk food. And a lot of vegans do, become vegan for the animal reasons, not just for health reasons. And I'm not saying that being vegan is healthier. It's not necessarily, unless nutrition is balanced. But because I have so much knowledge on like different products on the market and like what the good quality meats are and are they fortified and what the macro split is, like I can sort of tailor that for clients with their meal plans and give recommendations for recipes and things like that. And not only help them build muscle through all those things, but also get lean. It is really hard to drop body fat when you're a vegan too, because when you have less calories to play with, vegan meats and things like that are going to contain, because they're made of plants, carbs and fats hide everywhere. So the nutrition isn't exactly balanced the same way that it would be for a meat eater. So because you've got less calories to play with and stuff, it is like super difficult to get lean, but not impossible. So yeah.
It's one of those things, and like I guess just sort of thinking off at the top of my head too, especially if someone was maybe a little bit, higher body fat, they're obviously going to have insulin sensitivity problems, stuff like that. So then if you're just still jamming them with a heap of carbs, because obviously, plant-based diet does come with a lot of carbs, that'd be a lot harder to manage. Just for my own sort of like education there, like how do you manage that sort of situation?
Somebody with insulin sensitivity.
They're a little bit insulin resistant.
Okay. Generally somebody like that, if I'm going to allocate macros for them, I normally put them on higher fats and less carbs. That's generally how I would moderate that. But then like typically with the clients that I am dealing with, so just going off the back of what I said before, when yes, they want to drop body fat, but they're not trying to get ridiculously lean. I don't coach any comp prep clients. They are lifestyle clients. So it's not like the calories that I ever put them on are so low that it's an issue kind of the way that it is for me in comp prep. It's not hard for them to sort of have those foods and recommendations to stay within their calories and like their carbs and fats.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's cool. So, mate, like I know when we sort of first started working together too, one of the hardest things you're like, oh, I don't really want to exclude anyone. So sort of like, I don't want to just be like, I don't want to push away people because I'm a vegan coach, something like that. So now that you have actually started to really lean into that, how have you found the transition, and how have you found your ability to say authentic, like authentic to sort of your vegan principles and, your beliefs and values around that, but also, not necessarily exclude people? How has that happened for you?
Yeah. Well, when we sort of leaned into that niche, I did think that I would be disadvantaging myself. Like I'm going to lose a lot of potential clients because I do have that niche. But I think it's kind of worked for me, because I don't care that people aren't vegan. Like I'm not one of those crazy vegans that's going to be like, you need to stop eating meats. Like I'm pretty inclusive and still accommodate everybody. So it still worked for me. And I do post a lot of stuff to do with like plant-based diet or plant-based bodybuilding, vegan diet. So it has worked for me in that sense. And with the authenticity, like I live and breathe what I coach, like, because I am vegan and I've been able to, I've been overweight, I've been underweight, like I've been able to like build my body to how it is. Like I kind of like walk the walk in a way. So it kind of also shows people that you can do it in a healthy way, aside the competing aside, you can do it in a healthy way, and it does definitely work.
Yep. Yeah, no, I like it. And like one of the easiest things to do obviously is just be a product of your product. And
yeah,
with some of the stuff, and I know you're starting to grow in confidence about, you know, sharing some of the eating disorder stuff, and then, you know, being overweight, underweight. How are you going about navigating the confidence, I guess, to share some of that?
I used to not post stuff like that because I was like, oh my God, people can't see what I looked like before. But I think being real also shows people like, okay, my coach or my potential coach has been where I currently am. If they can get from here to here, so can I. And I just think sharing highlight reel kind of stuff, like sharing photos of me like jacked all the time, isn't really going to help clients either, because that it can be a little bit intimidating. But it's like, here's the entire journey. This is where I have been at all these different points. And like, here's how you can go from here to here. I think sharing all of that is really authentic and just really real.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things now, you're sort of like, you're going back into a prep. So one of the first things you said was like, hey, last time I did a prep, you know, I got a lot of eyes on me. I got a lot of things sort of happening and people reaching out to me. So this time you've gone back into it. What are the things that you're doing to sort of share that prep journey? But obviously, because like all of your clients aren't prepping for competition. So how do you sort of like share your journey, but get them to sort of see, hey, this is something that I could potentially work towards or get benefit from?
I kind of just share it in a way to show more like transformation type stuff. And, you know, share my workouts. I'm also careful with what I share though, because I'm not going to, apart from the close friend story, which you've probably seen, I'm not going to share my calories just because it can give the wrong idea. And it does also sort of go against what I'm preaching. I have had someone say to me, it is a little bit hypocritical to be coaching lifestyle clients and preaching a balanced diet when you are simultaneously comp prepping. Definitely have had that said. And I think
to call you out on that. So, okay, cool. So this is obviously, we're in the fitness industry and like we're coaches, we're obviously extremists in some way.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big one, because, you know, one of the things obviously is in terms of marketing, a lot of people are like, hey, look, if I just show my journey, this, that, and the other. One of the things that I love that you do is that you do share your journey, but you're very, very selective about sharing what that is, because obviously what you do, and, you know, like going to the extremes, as you've said it multiple times on this call, is like, it's not healthy. But you're a competitive human, you have like ambitions and you have goals, and you do like to see, you know, your absolute limits of what's capable. So how are you sort of like keeping true to yourself with all of the noise that comes in and saying you're hypocritical, all of that, and staying true to that sort of value that you hold for yourself?
Well, take the comp prep aside. The way that I coach my clients in terms of like flexible dieting, I really preach like 80% whole foods, 20% soul foods. I don't call them junk food, just not to demonize it. Like, we know it's junk food, but that's how I would frame it to them. That the way that I coach them is actually how I eat out of comp prep. Like, that's actually what I do. So I know that it works. I really believe in it, but I do also have the competitive side, like you said, and this is something separate to my coaching. Before I was a coach, I was a competitor. So I'm still going to do that stuff. And yes, it is quite extreme, but I like have the love for it. And I've just really taken the transformation angle, I guess, you know, when I've been posting last year, when I posted, like, so I was in prep from April till September last year before I coached. And I did post, I shared a lot of stuff that I wouldn't now, like the brain fog. I did share my macros when I did a Q&A. I shared a lot of stuff that I wouldn't share this time around, just because it is extreme and I don't want it to fall on the wrong eyes either. But yeah, that's pretty much, I am selective with what I post. Yes.
I think it's good, mate, because like we all know the fitness industry is plagued with fucking rubbish sometimes. So I think having that level and holding yourself to that standard is actually like something that I really think is such a great thing. Hold on, buddy. So also
On
too
that note
though,
as well, the reason I also like the comp prep stuff is like, so when I ran those boosted posts, it started hitting, like I didn't select what the audience was, but it kept hitting Queensland a lot. And I got a lot of online clients from Queensland. One of my shows is WBFF Bikini, and that is in Queensland. And it's kind of cool because like even my Queensland clients are like, let me know what it is because I want to come. Like I kind of like being that role model to my clients.
100%. Yeah. That's the other side of it, is like being that role model and sharing, your journey. Obviously you push to the level that even if your clients like do 60% of what, that they're still going to get an incredible result. And it is inspiring for a lot of our clients. And I think you've got to live that, and you've got to breathe it, and you've got to push the limits of what you're capable of, because, we're the ones out here leading the way. So, maybe just to sort of dive into, now you're sort of starting to create this epic little brand. So one of the things you've done recently was you reached out to like a brand ambassador. Do you want to maybe share what you're doing with that lady? Because she's got a pretty cool sort of image that she portrays as well.
Yes. So my client Stephanie is a vegan activist, and she's a body positivity model. She reached out to me because she's friends with my cousin who's trans, who is also an influencer. So Stephanie has 1.1 million followers, and we've had a couple of video calls. She essentially just said that she wants to lose about 10 kilos, doesn't want to get like ridiculously jacked or anything, has been training for ages. So she's got the muscle mass there already. She just wants to lose a bit of weight. So I am taking her through my program for free. And she's just posting. Another thing that we're doing, which is cool, is so because she's a model, we're doing a photo shoot together on the 5th of August. And she's already told me like what she's posting. So just like pretty much a little blurb about me, that I'm her coach and stuff. So that's pretty cool. I feel like that could go somewhere. So yeah, and it's just nice as well because, she reached out to me. She believes in all the things that I believe in too. Like I'm not an extreme vegan, like I said, but we have the same belief system.
That's so cool. Like, so maybe talking about where you want your brand to be, 6 months from now, what do you sort of envision for your brand?
I actually had this conversation via voice recording on the way here. Okay. So I want to get to 100 clients. I am getting a VA next week. So I've already had my meeting about that, as an appointment setter. I do want to get to 100 clients. And I think that's like my cap. Then it's like, okay, books are closed kind of thing. That's what I want to do in terms of coaching. Even though I have a VA or getting a VA, I still want to be like the face of the business, obviously doing the check-ins, the meal plans, obviously, just because I know I have the degree, all the training programs. But the other thing I'm working on, as you know, is just more of like a lower ticket offer, which is a 6-week fat loss program, almost like a coachless do-it-yourself program. So each week I'm using like a program that's almost like modules on the side. Week by week they unlock. They can review the previous week if they need to. Like as an example, just to show you what will be in it. So the first week will be like, what's energy, what's macros, what are foods that contain these, how to calculate your maintenance calories, how to get to an appropriate deficit from there. So almost like showing them the ropes on how to get to the end. And then a video call at the end to try and onboard them onto my my high ticket offer, so one-on-one coaching. And the other thing I want to have in the background as well is almost like a couple of glute programs. So I'm going to get photos done when I am jacked with the booty pop out the side for marketing, and that will kind of be a couple of different things I want to offer. So 100 clients for one-on-one essentially, and then the lower ticket offers sort of running themselves. If I can get to that, that would be freaking sick. And I hope to do that by the end of the year.
Yeah. One of the things you said there is if I can do that.
No, when I do that, I'm doing it.
Yeah. All change is linguistic. So it's really, really important. But one of the things you said there, mate, I thought is quite brilliant. So quite often people will get scared by, hey, look, if I just give them everything, they're not going to need me as a coach. But one of the things you sort of said there is like, hey, this is what energy is. This is what your macros, this is how you calculate it and set it all up. But then on the flip side, it's like, cool, you offer them then that upgrade to like help them coach through it. So I think it's brilliant.
One thing that really works for me to sort of keep people on the program is the reverse diet. Like I bang on about that a lot because it's so necessary. A lot of reasons don't fail, apart from the fact that they're restrictive or they don't teach people shit. So like Light and Easy or, Jenny Craig, for example. People will lose weight, and we all know this in the industry. They lose weight and return to normal eating because they haven't learned anything. All my successful clients that have got epic results have followed a reverse diet, and they look the same as they did at the end of the fat loss phase. Like even one of my star clients who's in a friggin' surplus 2,700 calories looks the same as when she was on 1,600. Like it needs to happen. And I do also speak about that in check-ins. I will also feed that in slowly through the course, the 6-week course to plant the seed that at the end we need to go. But if you haven't lost the weight you want to lose, we'll keep dropping. But if you have, we need to reverse diet. And I don't sort of explain the process either, that it's a slow increase in carbs or fat. I sort of leave that up to interpretation. So to sort of they need me in order to get back there.
No, it's brilliant. And I think it's like that skill set alone would probably do wonders in the fitness industry, because weight loss is easy as shit, but weight management is probably the actual skill.
Yeah.
So it's so important. Brilliant. So 100 clients online, 1-to-1, that'd be really, really cool. Also this low ticket offering, that's just going to be a feeder program for you. But let's say with, you're going to have this ambassador, maybe have a couple more, what could your brand become if you really were to say, hey, look, this is what I'm all about. This is what the impact I want to make.
I mean, I do really want to be like a well-known vegan coach because it's such a niche. And let's talk about the psychic readings. So guys, last week I had a psychic reading. I told Dylan about this. The psychic was pretty much saying, like, she talked about business stuff and collaborations with other businesses, and she pretty much just said, I'm going to be loaded. So once I heard that, I was like, not that I need to rely on a friggin' psychic to give me the confidence, but I was kind of just like, okay, I'm on the right track. Like I could make this business go massive. She's like, you've kind of hit the East Coast, which is true. Melbourne, New South Wales and Queensland, but she's like, then the West Coast. I kind of like, when I think about long-term plans for the business, yes, I want to be an online coach and I still want to go and travel and stuff, but I do also have this plan of almost having like a facility or multiple facilities where like nutritionists are hired to do consults, or a physio, like a multifaceted kind of company, I guess. And I think that will be a really good goal to have as I get older, because I can't be the face of the company forever. Like I am going to get older and I'm probably not going to be as jacked, and I'm going to have wrinkles and shit despite Botox. So I think like me being the overseer eventually would be a goal to have.
Yeah, like it's quite funny. You're probably the first sort of like, let's call you an Instagram chick that admits, hey, look, there is a time limit on my good looks.
Okay, but you know what? Guess how old I am?
25.
Okay, I'm 30 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, shit. It's cool.
Sorry, Botox.
Nah, it's good. It's one of those things, I guess, is like, it's good to have that plan moving forward too. And like one of the things is like, if you actually think about it though, like all your audience is going to age with you. So realistically, you'll have a different market, but hey, look, you start to capture different people because they're still coming on the journey with you. The thing is, when you're 40 compared to people who haven't looked after themselves, you'll probably still look 30 when they look fucking 60, so it does still have its advantages. And I think one of the main things is like when you learn marketing and sales, it really does not matter, because you can just adjust your programs, adjust your product. But it's really, really cool that you've got that long-term vision. So if we were to maybe shift gears into some of the tactical stuff that you're doing right now, what would be, how important do you believe, so in terms of creating your content, some of the stuff that you're doing really, really cool. Obviously you have that boosted post that is like bringing in clients almost every single week at the moment. What were you doing with that specific post? How did you sort of create that? And what are you doing with that so that you can bring in clients every single week?
So the post was, I have 2 running at the moment, but this particular one was 5 signs you need a coach to help you reach your goals. And this wasn't vegan specific. This is just anyone really wanting to lose weight. And it was just 5 things that people do. So like you restrict all week and then on the weekend you'll eat everything in sight. It was kind of just like that sort of message, or not following a structured training program, or giving it a crack for 2 weeks and then saying it's not working and giving up. Just stuff that like literally everyone experiences when they're trying to lose body fat. So by the end of it, I pretty much just told them their whole problem. And then there's a call to action at the end. That post, like I just remember thinking of it one night and writing it in my notes. And then the next day I jumped on Canva and put it together. That one has done really well. And I have gotten a lot of just like direct messages from people to either join, which has been cool, or like ask for more information, and then get them onto a sales call. So that's that kind of content I have been making quite a lot, like calling people out, but in a subtle, not subtle, but like in a non-aggressive way, with like common things that's happening with them as to why they can't lose weight or why they can't keep it off.
Yeah, it's like, it's really well done. It just speaks to like their frustrations and the way that they're probably saying it too in their head. Not like, hey, you're a useless cunt, you shouldn't be doing this. It's more like you're speaking to them rather than at them. And I think it's very well crafted. So just on that, you sort of boost it for a couple bucks a day. How you're sort of using that strategy? So
I boosted it for, I can't remember what it is a day, but over a 30-day period, it ends up being $140. So I've boosted it, I think 3 times. It's just boosted the whole time. And I just did the other one for the same price. So I've just left them sort of metrics as they are for that for now. And the next boosted one is the one that, so Dylan and I went through a vegan specific one, which was kind of like what I was saying before about the protein, the focus on protein for vegans. So protein distribution, protein quality, protein quantity, giving some examples of each, the protein content of different like actual products on the market. And then at the end, rather than sort of a call to action, we're doing a DME for free vegan meal plan. So that's the next one. So just sort of moving a little bit more into that niche for the boosted posts.
Yeah, man, it's a nice little 2-step as well. So I think it'd be a great little entry point there. With the other thing you sort of do really well is you use your Instagram. Hey.
Are you going to say store? Oh, I think I said
store. Oh, your Instagram stories. Yeah, your Instagram stories you do really well, where you're sharing your client results and sort of a bit of behind the scenes stuff. So what would be your daily process that you sort of go about using Instagram stories?
Yeah, so I do try and post consistently on my stories a lot. I could honestly make more posts on the feed, but stories like probably 10 a day. I pretty much just document my entire day plus client stuff as they come up. And because like generally my life is health and fitness, like my hobbies, like I enjoy going for a freaking walk with a podcast. Like everything I'm doing is so related. So I'll post what I'm doing. Like, so in the morning I'll get up, and if I go on a walk with the sunrise, I'll post like, check-ins done, or get your 10,000 steps a day, or what podcast I'm listening to kind of thing. I'll post stuff of me training or what the program was. As I do my check-ins, I normally will screenshot their like graph in Trainerize if they're losing weight. You can see it, and show people, hey, progress isn't linear. There's spikes here. I do talk to my clients a lot through in between their check-ins on WhatsApp. So a lot of voice recordings. They do send me a lot of messages with their wins. And I do just screenshot a lot of the messages that they send me and chuck them up on my story. So they do really well. And aside from that, food, just whatever food I'm having, a bit of a nutritional breakdown about that or why it's beneficial. And then a couple of, like, to keep it kind of light as well, I do share a lot of gym memes just because they're funny. But other than that, that's pretty much the story flow each day. And I do post consistently too, because I'm up so friggin' early, I need to make sure that my shit's going to the top of everyone's feed by continuously posting it.
Yeah, no, it's epic. It's you're one of the most consistent, especially in the Instagram stories. Is there anything particular that has had people like directly reach out to you, either from your stories or from your posts? Is there anything you're starting to notice there?
Yeah, so people reaching out from any kind of transformation type stories that I'm putting up, or transformation posts, and also the screenshots that I've been putting up of like nice messages clients will say, like, I couldn't have done this without you, you're the best coach, or like, that sort of stuff, or like, here's my win for the day, I can now fit into a size 6. Those kind of messages are what are making people reach out. And that's what they've been saying. Like, the clients have been saying that. And I also just keep, obviously, as we know, stories disappear after 24 hours, but I've just made 3 highlight reels just called clients, with my logo as the picture, with all of those stories in there. So if people, I'm hoping this is what's happening, if people do jump on my Instagram and they don't know me, they can go through that, and there's just like a shit ton of client meals,
just a massive portfolio.
food. Yeah, and like the meals that they share too, because it's flexible dieting, it's never like salads and stuff. Their meals look epic, and because they send me their stuff like, hey, look at my food porn, I will upload that, and that's like attracting other clients too, because it's like a non-diet approach to fat loss.
Yeah, it was actually the first thing that stood out. I was like, the food your clients eat, like, I'm like, sign me up, because I'm like, I need this in my life. But it's those little things that like are just showing the behind the scenes of like, hey, this is how I coach my clients. You know, I obviously care and love about them. But it's also, hey, look, I'm not starving them like a bodybuilder, you know, like I'm actually feeding them real food. This is what they eat. They love me. They're still getting amazing results. And I think it's really, really cool. Probably now, maybe let's just have a quick look at how you deliver your business to your clients. So maybe if you talk us about the training and nutrition, and then how you keep people accountable, especially maybe on WhatsApp.
Yeah, so I use Trainerize as the platform. And so when I have a new client, I get them to fill in my onboarding form, which is in my bio link on Instagram. That's just a range of questions, so I can understand like their history, where they're at currently, what they're after, and all of that. It's a pretty comprehensive form, but it gives me all the information I need about them. Then I will start them on their particular day. Let's just say it's a Monday. I build their profile through Trainerize and a custom training program according to like what I think they need in order to get to their goal. With their meal, one thing I do, yes, I assign macros, but just to give them a bit of a kickstart, I do actually do a 2-day sample meal plan. I just call it a day on your plate, based on the foods that they want to eat. And the reason I know what they want to eat is I ask this question in their onboarding form. So I'll obviously macro calculate that. It's going to have 80% whole foods, 20% soul foods, to sort of give them an idea of how much you can eat, how much variety you can have, and they then build off that with the macros I've given them. I have a manual on like how to properly use MyFitnessPal, how to add me as a friend, how to make your diary to set to friend. The whole thing's like all done. And then once they've done that, they've all got a check-in day. So I've got clients on Sunday check-ins, Wednesday and Friday, and I'll respond the following day. The check-in form is, to make it super easy for them, it's an auto message that comes through on their check-in day with the link to their form. And the form is just like wins for the week, what you found difficult, quality of digestion, energy levels, day of menstrual cycle, mini goals for next week, sleep in hours, average, fiber, just all of that. So I get a bit of an understanding of like how their week went and what I need to do for the following week. And then I will voice record them their response and anything I need to change or recommendations the next day, and have a look through their MyFitnessPal entry too. But aside from the weekly check-ins, I am in touch with them through the week. They do message me stuff that sometimes it's not even to do with nutrition and training, which I love. I feel like I'm a psychologist too, probably how you feel with me. But I love it because it does sort of create that bond with them. Like I'm literally a relationship counselor, I feel like, don't know why, but just sort of creating that bond. And I've become friends with some of my clients. So I am in touch with them a lot. And so it really is just, that's how I deliver it, and then change their program, by the way, gym program, every 6 to 8 weeks. And then it's mainly through WhatsApp that we're talking, because they have me on Instagram too. It is like extra connection.
Yeah, for sure. I think when you sort of like dive into what works for most people in terms of having a successful business, it's like, you know, training, nutrition, relatively the same, but it's that extra bit of care and love where you're there for your client. You know, I think that's what really sets really good coaches apart. Is there ever a time where you're like, let's say you're like, want to go away for a week? How do you sort of plan that so that you can actually, you know, have some time off, but make sure your clients are still looked after?
Well, I did go to Bali in January, and this is what really gave me the itch to go online, because I still worked when I was over there. Aside from like not PTing, I still did my check-ins and everything like that. I made sure I got an Indonesian SIM for WhatsApp. And I just lost what I was saying. Ask me the question again.
So yeah, you went to Bali and you were still able to like maintain the work with your clients.
Yeah. So even though like if I had to, I wouldn't put anyone on pause because I know that I can still work while I'm doing it. All I really did and would continue to do if I was going to go away again, which I am in January, is just make sure I block all my work like early in the morning. That way I can still enjoy my holiday. And to be honest with you, when my clients message me, it is 24/7 support that I put in there too through WhatsApp. Obviously, if I'm asleep or training or something, like I'm going to be delayed in the reply, but I am pretty quick with the replies too. And they like appreciate that. I don't mind when they voice record me in the middle of the day. Like I generally like answering their questions, and I like that they feel comfortable enough to like tell me whatever it is. And like I said, sometimes it's not even nutrition and training, but I actually do like that sort of aspect. So if I was going to go away for a while, I would just probably make sure my check-ins are done early, and I would still be contactable on my phone, just probably delayed.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's one of those things, like everyone wants this dream of having to do nothing in a business, but it's like you can
It's
do
like 7
less.
days a week.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what makes it successful too. And you enjoy it and you saddle up and you're living and breathing your product, plus you're also prepared to put in the work. And I'm pretty sure like everything you do is obviously your marketing's good, you're good at sales, your program's good, but it's you're prepared to actually do the work. And that makes a big difference, which is cool. So to sort of finish this off, so when it's all said and done, mate, when we me and Jesse and Brad we're at the funeral of your career, and we're up there talking about you. You're lying there dead in your little vegan casket, and you've given up the industry. What do me, Brad, and Jesse say about your career? Or what would you like your loved ones to say, like all your clients to say about the impact you've had and what you've done with your career?
I would like people to say that I have been able to change their life and help them get to their, not just their goal weight, but maintain it, but also just a healthier, happier version of themselves in a really sustainable way. Like I am all about like it being a sustainable approach and an enjoyable approach and maintainable as well. And that doesn't even have to just be like I get to the end and it's just vegans, just like all my clients too. Like I would like that to be the impact. And I would say that I am a pretty driven person too. Sometimes I feel like I'm slacking off, but when I reflect, I'm like, I have so much shit going on at one time, at all times as well. And like, I don't know, like I just do give everything a crack. And I don't know, I just would like people to say that I fucking made it, because it took a long time, honestly, to get over limiting beliefs and feel confident and, to go at, like, I don't care about doing stuff now. Like this, what we're doing here would freaked me out, like, even 6 months ago. Whereas now I'm like putting myself out there. I'm starting a podcast with someone else. Like I'm going on someone else's podcast, like just doing more things. And just that she was a go-getter.
How good. So if you were to speak to Sharna-lee 12 months ago, what would you say to her now?
What's the date? 21st of July. Shit, things are so different. I was at uni and I just finished actually thinking about coaching. I would honestly say just do it. Seriously, like there's nothing to lose. You honestly, like the biggest failure is failing to take action. Nothing is a failure, because like everyone that wins has failed 1,000 times before they win. Like there's just a learning experience, and all it is, like rejection is just redirection. And I just think having that resilient mindset is important, because so much stuff's not going to work. But if you try a million different things, you have more of a chance of that actually becoming successful. And I also think that what I could have done is just get help sooner. Like I didn't know about the inner circle though, and I didn't know about you. I think it is a good idea for someone wanting to break into the online space. You need to get a coach, because whether you went to uni or you did a certificate or whatever it is, they teach you the science of stuff and how to lose the weight. And it's nothing about marketing or actually running a business. And that's like half of it. Without that, your business will not run. So yeah, I just think you need to get someone that knows what they're doing to push you in the direction.
For sure. So if you were to say, hey, Sharna-lee, 12 months ago, do these 3 things, do them now, what would you tell them?
Sooner. Like if I could have done that a year ago, I would have started the business in like friggin' July when I registered it on ASIC. I would have got a business coach straight away. And I would have just like had the mindset, like just go out and post stuff. Like don't hold back. Don't be worried about what people are going to think, because people are going to say shit about you anyway, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they always do. And that's when you sort of know you're on the right track, I reckon, which is good. No, awesome, mate. I really, really appreciate your time today. And it's very cool for me to like just see behind the scenes of the work you're putting in. Because a lot of people, as you said, you know, you almost feel lazy, but you're actually putting in so much work. You're an action taker and you back yourself and you're prepared to fail, which is very, very cool. So it's awesome to see. Thank you for your time today. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And we will catch you next time.
All right, lovely. Thank you.